Okay, so you guys should have all of the following stuff. Of course, I don't have a project, so I'm just using this paper that I used in place of that. But you should have your project, a ruler that you can see the measurements on, ultrafine Sharpie, a regular pencil, or extra eraser if you need it. You need a label, an evaluation sheet, rubber cement, and a piece of black paper that's already been pre-cut for you guys. So there's quite a lot of stuff that we're going to need, and that's essentially everything. So right there. Some of you guys getting stuff you forgot. Alright, so I'm going to put some of this stuff off to the side so it makes it easy for you guys to see this. So I'm just going to move this stuff off of here. Evaluation sheet you don't need yet. Pretty much what you need right now is your project, evaluation sheet, and pencil, okay? I'm going to use a white color pencil for this just so it shows up better on the screen. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in just a little bit up here. So our projects are vertical, so your black paper needs to be vertical. I know it's kind of, screen's not big enough to show all of this, but make sure this is vertical. So project and black paper, nice and tall and vertical. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to set my project off to the side. I'm going to zoom in up here to the top of the paper. So I'm at the top. You guys are going to need to use your ruler. First thing I want you guys to do is measure 1 inch from the top of your project, just like so. Okay? Measure 1 inch from the top. Alright? I'll show you that again. So just put your ruler up there at the top of your paper and just measure 1 inch from the top. The next thing I'm going to have you guys do, so I'm going to have you guys put your ruler now so that it's going horizontally on your project. And notice I'm not at the very top of my paper. I've dropped my ruler down quite a few inches down from the top. Now I want you to measure 1 inch from the very left side of your paper. And I'll leave that there so you guys can see it. So again, measure 1 inch from the left side. I'm doing this with white color pencil just so it shows up a lot easier for the video. You guys should be just using a regular pencil. You don't want yours to be as visible as mine. Alright, so now you can kind of put your ruler off to the side. Now's the time to actually glue and attach your project to the black paper. Try to expand this a little bit. Okay, so that's about as far as I can get. Now with this, because you guys have your portraits on here and you've got either graphite or white or charcoal on the other side, it is very soft and it can be messy. We are not going to spray fixative these yet because I want you guys to be able to make revisions to this project after I grade it if that's what you want to do. Once the revisions have been turned in, then we will spray them. So, very carefully you guys want to turn your project over, so now you're looking at the back of your project. Very, very carefully, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and just let it lay here on the black paper, that's fine. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your rubber cement, and remember, you don't need a lot of glue on the brush. I'm going to brush off the excess glue. And I'm just going to place that glue here in the corner, like so. And then what I like to do is just take one final sort of swipe from the corner into the middle of the project so it looks like an arrow. I'm going to do that for each corner. And this is pretty much what I have found is sort of the perfect amount of rubber cement you need. You don't want to put too much down because if you do, chances are you will never get this project off the black paper if you ever want to replace it. And then for a lot of you guys who plan on entering this into a variety of competitions, we do find that we need to take it off the black paper for those. So Again, I'm just kind of framing out the corners so it looks like arrows. And then one final swipe into the middle like that. And again, that's about all I need. It's a pretty small drawing, so I don't need much. Once you get the rubber cement on your project like that, then just very gently grab your project, and you are going to use those marks that you used or created on here, and I'm going to zoom into this. Going to use that as a guide as far as where the project needs to go. So use that as a guide. Make sure that everything is straight. You can even grab your ruler and just double check to make sure you have an inch here on the other side, which you should have. And then you're going to have a lot of extra paper down here at the bottom. That's fine. Use your fingers and just go around the outside border and just press that down once you're determined you've got it in the right spot. Okay? So just work on the outside, use your fingertips, and just kind of push that down. If you feel like you want to, you can just use your fingertips and just very sparingly kind of push that down. But you guys have a lot of media on your drawing, so you may not want to do that. Okay? So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to get to the point where I'm at, and then I'll show you what the next step is. Alright, so next step, one thing that I would have you guys do, and I'm not going to do this on this, but I've had you guys do it to your projects. Take an eraser, and I want you to go all the way around, and I want you to clean up the border so it's nice and clean. So erase the numbers that you have around the outside edge, erase these pencil lines that you have probably in the corners, and then just get rid of any of the smudges and the material that you have. Let's just make that border really nice and clean looking, okay? So, something you want to do before you move on. Alright, so the next thing, I'm just going to turn, since I don't have a drawing on this side, I'm just going to turn this around so it makes it easier actually for you guys to see these labels, okay? Now, because you guys had choices as far as what media you used, okay? Not everyone's going to have the same media, okay? So you're either going to have, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see this. You're going to have one of these two options. So you're either going to have, if you used graphite, you're going to write for your media graphite and color pencil. And if you use just charcoal, the white and black charcoal, you're just going to write charcoal pencil. There's no need to say black or white charcoal, it's just all the same. So what I want you guys to do, go ahead and write down the media that you used for the project. And again, you've got two examples here. You're going to choose one of those to put on your label. The next thing you're going to write down now is your name. Okay, so remember, you need to properly capitalize your first and last name. I'm going to just go ahead and fill out both of these labels. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and skip title on both of these because, again, that takes a little bit more time. I'm going to go ahead and write the class. So the name of this class is Drawing and Painting 1. I'm going to use the Roman numeral 1. And then because usually I run out of room because drawing and painting is a long name, I usually put the class period underneath here. So you can just put P whatever class period you're in. I'm not going to put a class period on there because I always teach multiple drawing and painting classes. So if you're period 6, you should write period 6. If you're period 1, period 1, period 2, so on and so forth, okay? Alright, I shouldn't have put that 6 on there. Everybody's going to be confused. All right, now title. Again, title always has to, it has to go with your project. You know, so these are self-portraits. Does that mean that you have to use the title self-portrait? No. Okay. But you can be very creative with this, or you can be very simple. It's totally up to you. Okay. I will say that I do get a lot of me, myself, and I as ideas for titles on self-portraits, so you may want to avoid that one. But come up with whichever title you feel like connects to the drawing the best. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and come up with that idea. Again, make sure that you properly capitalize your titles. Okay. All right. So I'll give you guys a minute to fill in your title, and then I'll show you how to put your label down. All right, so once you have your label filled out, I'm going to put these off to the side. Go ahead and you want your project. I'm going to zoom this back out. So hopefully you can see as much as I can show you. Alright, so it's going to be a little hard. Alright, so here we've got, this will be where your self-portrait is. Down here at the bottom, you guys have a lot of paper left over. This is where we're going to put the label, okay? So what I want you guys to do, go ahead and take your label. You're going to put rubber cement on the back of it. Again, take off most of that glue that's on the brush. And you're just going to go around the outside edge here of your label. So put your rubber cement on the back. And then the label is going to go in the center with just a little bit of space in between the artwork and your label. So just a little bit of space in between those two. And then you're going to have you're going to have paper left underneath. That'll be your bottom border. Okay? So I'll kind of scoot this down so you can see what this looks like. Again, you'll still have quite a bit of paper here at the bottom, that's fine. Okay? Give you guys a chance to do this, and then I'll talk about some last minute finishing touches. Okay. So, I'm going to show you guys how to do the signature, okay? In a minute. I'm going to go ahead and kind of erase this area. Now remember, you should have your border all cleaned up, okay? Of course, I'm going to still use these as examples, so mine's not completely cleaned up. But your border should be completely cleaned up, so you should have already erased all your pencil lines, your numbers, any media that got smudged in there. So what I'm going to do, guys are going to need to sign this in the lower right hand corner, okay? And you can do this, when you have a border like this, a lot of time the artists like to sign it in the border rather than on the actual drawing or painting. So if you have a border, that makes it easy to do that. You want to choose, and I've got all three of my pencils here. Now remember, you do not want to make your signature distracting, which means that you want to keep your signature small. And you want to keep it light. You don't want to make it so that it contrasts against things a lot. So what I would suggest that you do is you do your signature in a 4H pencil. Probably won't show up that much, and that's fine. That's kind of the way we want it to be. Because you've got a little bit more space here, you guys can, and it's up to you. Like a lot of times when I sign my artwork, I will do like S. Gower, like this. And I know it's really hard to see. I don't know if you guys can see that. A lot of times I just do like real short like that, S. Gower. If you want to just use your initials, you can do that. And I can darken this up maybe just a little bit. So maybe I'll use my 3B pencil and just make that a a little bit darker. Now, if you use charcoal, you should be signing it with the charcoal pencil, not with the graphite. You always sign in the media that you use for the project. So this is why you need your guys' supplies. So if you use graphite, you're going to sign in graphite. If you use charcoal, you're going to sign in charcoal. I would advise you guys to kind of sharpen up your pencils so you're not working with a really thick line here. Okay? So I will leave that there so you guys can see how to sign it. And then we'll talk about the evaluation sheet next. Alright guys, the next step. So after you've signed it, cleaned up around the outside, got your label all filled out, the next step is to deal with the evaluation sheet. So I'm going to zoom out here. Okay. So here's the evaluation sheet. You guys, as always, need to fill this out. You want to fill it out with pencil, never a Sharpie marker, because Sharpie marker bleeds through and then you can't correct any mistakes. So write your first and last name up here at the top. The title of your project goes right here, and then class period there. You guys need to read the description of each one of all of these categories and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, on how well you felt like you met the objectives of each one of those sections. Okay? Presentation is something that I think is really important. I definitely read through this stuff, guys. It's like a little checklist, so it might jog your memory on something maybe you forgot to do. So read through this stuff before you evaluate yourself. Add up your points. You're going to put that right there, and then you're going to multiply it by 2, and that'll tell you exactly what sort of percentage or grade that you're giving yourself. When you're done with that, you're going to take your photograph, okay? Take your photograph, and you are going to staple it to your evaluation sheet, okay? So when I'm grading this project, I'm going to be looking at the photograph as my reference, okay? This is all going to go just directly right on top of your project, and then you can put it in the turn-in folder when you're finished. So that is how we turn in the project.